Your heart is beating right now. Your stomach is digesting. Your immune system is patrolling. You are not doing any of it. Something else is. There is a nerve inside your body that runs from the base of your skull all the way down to your intestines. It passes through your throat, wraps around your heart, threads through your lungs, and ends in your gut. It controls your heart rate, your digestion, your immune response, your breathing, the way your body handles inflammation, even the way your brain forms memories. Scientists call it the vagus nerve. Some researchers call it the most important nerve in the human body. And here is what almost nobody tells you. It weakens with age, quietly, gradually, without a single symptom you would recognize as coming from a nerve. But the effects? You have been feeling them for years. The fatigue that no amount of sleep fixes. The digestion that stopped working the way it used to. The heart that feels like it is working harder than it should. The mood that dips without an obvious reason. The memory that is just slower. These are not separate problems. They are one problem. And today I am going to show you exactly what is happening and the 3 natural methods, backed by research from institutions including Cedars-Sinai, the Cleveland Clinic, and peer-reviewed journals, that directly strengthen this nerve. One of them you can do in the next 2 minutes. One of them involves a reflex your doctor uses in cardiac emergencies. And almost nobody outside hospital knows it also works as a daily habit. And one of them you may have heard about for completely different reasons. But the mechanism behind why it actually works will change the way you think about it forever. Let me tell you what the vagus nerve actually is. Because most explanations make it sound like a footnote. It is not a footnote. It is the entire system. The vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve. It is the longest nerve in your body. It begins in the lower part of your brainstem, a region called the medulla oblongata, and from there, wanders. That is actually what the word vagus means in Latin. Wandering, and it wanders into almost everything. Your heart, your lungs, your liver, your stomach, your intestines, your kidneys, your spleen. According to the Cleveland Clinic, the vagus nerves, there are 2, one on each side of your body, contain 75% of your entire parasympathetic nervous system's nerve fibers. The parasympathetic system is your rest and digest system. It is the system that calms you, heals you, regulates your inflammation, and keeps your body in biological balance. And as Scientific American has reported, about 80% of the vagus nerve's fibers carry information upward, from your body to your brain, not the other way around. Sit with that for a moment. Your brain is not just sending orders down to your organs. Your organs are constantly reporting up to your brain. Your gut, your heart, your immune cells, they are all talking, all day, every day. The vagus nerve is the communication line they use. When that line is clear and strong, your body runs in balance. When that line weakens, which research confirms it does with age, the whole system starts to drift. Here is what the science actually shows about what happens to vagal strength as you get older. Researchers measure vagus nerve function using something called heart rate variability, or HRV. HRV is the natural, healthy variation in the time between your heartbeats. A strong vagus nerve produces consistent, measurable variation in that rhythm. A weakened one produces a flatter, less responsive pattern. A study published in the Annals of the New York Academy of Sciences, drawing on data from over 8 million people, found that high-frequency heart rate variability, a direct reflection of vagus nerve activity, was approximately 80% lower in adults at 60 than it was in those same adults at 20. 80%. That is not a minor adjustment. That is a system that has lost the majority of its operating capacity over 4 decades, while you were living your life, not noticing. And the consequences of that decline are documented across decades of research. A meta-analysis published in Europace, the Journal of the European Heart Rhythm Association, found that low heart rate variability was associated with a 32 to 45% increased risk of a first cardiovascular event in people with no prior heart disease. Research published in the journal Frontiers in Aging found that decreased vagal function is directly connected to inflammaging, the slow, low-grade inflammatory state we discussed in the previous video, the one that accelerates aging throughout your entire body. And the Stanford 2026 Nature study we covered last time showed that weakened vagal signaling between the gut and the hippocampus is directly linked to age-related memory decline. 1. Nerve. Heart, gut, brain, inflammation, all declining together, all connected. And here's what the research also clearly shows. It can be strengthened. Before I show you the 3 methods, I want to tell you about a man I will call David. David is 67. He came across our channel after his cardiologist mentioned heart rate variability for the first time. David had been dealing with a persistently high resting heart rate for years, sluggish digestion. Waking at 3 in the morning almost every night, he had been given separate explanations for each of these. Different appointments, different medications, different specialists. Nobody had ever suggested they might be connected. Then David started learning about the vagus nerve. He started doing 2 of the 3 things I am about to show you. 6 weeks later, his resting heart rate had dropped by 11 beats per minute. His sleep improved. At his next cardiology appointment, his doctor noted the change and asked what David had done differently. David explained. His doctor nodded. He said that lifestyle practices affecting vagal tone were underutilized in clinical settings, that the evidence was real, that more patients should know about them. I cannot promise you David's outcome. Every person is different. And none of this is a substitute for medical care from your own physician. Please always speak with your doctor before making changes to your health routine. But the research behind these 3 methods is real. It comes from institutions you trust, and it is completely within your reach. Here are the 3. Method number 1. Slow diaphragmatic breathing with an extended exhale. This is the most studied, most accessible, and most immediately measurable vagus nerve technique available. Here is the mechanism. The vagus nerve is physically connected to your diaphragm, the large dome-shaped muscle that powers every breath. When you breathe slowly and deeply, you stretch receptors in your lungs that transmit calming signals directly up the vagus nerve to your brainstem. And specifically, a longer exhale than inhale is what activates the parasympathetic response. Research cited by Cedars-Sinai confirms that slow, deep breathing with extended exhales measurably reduces heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and increases heart rate variability. The optimal breathing rate for vagal activation, based on multiple studies, is approximately 5 to 6 breaths per minute. For most people, that means breathing in for about 4 to 5 seconds and breathing out for 6 to 8 seconds. You do not need a device. You do not need an app. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 to 5 seconds. Feel your belly expand, not just your chest. Then exhale gently through your mouth for 6 to 8 seconds. That long, slow exhale is where the vagus nerve activation happens. 5 minutes before bed, or anytime during the day when you notice your body tightening up. The effects on heart rate variability are measurable within a single session. With consistent daily practice, they compound over weeks. Method number 2. Cold water on the face. I said one of these was a reflex your doctor uses in cardiac emergencies. This is it. When cold water makes contact with your face, specifically around your eyes and forehead, it triggers something called the mammalian diving reflex. This is one of the most powerful, most involuntary autonomic responses in the human body. It is hardwired into your physiology. Every mammal on Earth shares it. The diving reflex directly and immediately activates the vagus nerve. Heart rate slows. Blood pressure drops. The parasympathetic nervous system shifts into dominance. Physicians have used this reflex clinically for decades. According to stat pearls at the National Institutes of Health, cold stimulus to the face, the diving reflex, is one of the standard vagal maneuvers used by emergency and cardiac medicine practitioners to terminate a condition called supraventricular tachycardia, a rapid abnormal heart rhythm. It works by rapidly increasing vagal tone to slow conduction through the heart. That is the same mechanism, the same nerve. Available to you every morning. For daily vagal toning, you do not need a medical setting. You need 30 seconds. Splash cool water on your face when you wake up. Or at the end of your shower, turn the water to cold for 30 seconds and let it run across your face and neck. Research from Cedars-Sinai confirms this activates vagal pathways and measurably reduces the body's stress response. The water does not need to be ice cold. Noticeably cool is enough to trigger the reflex now. Method number 3. This is the one I mentioned at the start. The one most people have encountered for completely different reasons. And when you understand the actual mechanism, it reframes everything. Method number 3. Humming. I know. Hear me out. The vagus nerve runs directly alongside the muscles of your larynx, your voice box. It innervates those muscles. And when those muscles vibrate during humming or chanting, they physically stimulate the vagus nerve from the inside. This is not a metaphor. It is anatomy. Published research on a breathing practice called Bhramari Pranayama, which is simply humming on the exhale, has demonstrated measurable increases in heart rate variability and improved parasympathetic tone. A 2023 study published in Korea at the National Institutes of Health found that humming produced the lowest stress index of any activity measured, lower than physical rest, lower than sleep. A separate study in the journal Biomedicine found that just 3 weeks of daily humming practice produced significant improvements in HRV parameters and a measurable shift toward parasympathetic dominance. The mechanism has two components. First, the vibration of the vocal cords directly stimulates the vagus nerve via its laryngeal branch. Second, humming naturally slows your breathing rate, placing you in the same 5 to 6 breaths per minute range that activates vagal tone through the diaphragm. You get both mechanisms simultaneously. Hum for 2 minutes while you make your morning tea. Sing in the car. Gargle with water for 6 seconds after you brush your teeth at night. These are not small symbolic gestures. They are direct physical interventions on the most important nerve in your body. Now I want to give you the larger picture, because understanding these 3 methods individually is useful, but understanding why they work together is where the real shift happens. The vagus nerve is not a single function. It is a regulator. When vagal tone is strong, your heart rate responds flexibly to what your body needs moment to moment. Your digestion moves efficiently and absorbs nutrients properly. Your immune system modulates inflammation, turning it on when there is a real threat, turning it off when there isn't. Your brain receives clear, consistent signals from your gut and organs. Your mood stabilizes because the conversation between your body and brain is clean. When vagal tone is weak, all of those systems drift. Not dramatically, not all at once, but slowly over years. The accumulated drift starts to look like aging. The 3 methods I just showed you, slow breathing, cold water, and humming, each stimulate the vagus nerve through a completely different physical pathway. Slow breathing activates it through the diaphragm and lung receptors. Cold water activates it through the trigeminal nerve and the diving reflex. Humming activates it through vibration of the laryngeal branch. 3 pathways, 1 nerve, 1 signal being sent to every organ in your body. It is safe to heal. Combined, they create what researchers call improved autonomic balance, a better equilibrium between your sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. And the evidence for what that balance produces is consistent across decades of research in circulation, Europace, Frontiers in Aging, and clinical guidance from the Cleveland Clinic and Cedars-Sinai. Lower cardiovascular risk, slower cognitive decline, reduced systemic inflammation, better sleep, improved digestion, all from a nerve you have had your entire life. That is still there. That still responds. Let me tell you something directly. You have probably been told that the changes happening in your body after 60 are just aging. That the sluggish digestion, the higher resting heart rate, the foggy thinking, the fatigue, these are simply what growing older means. The research says something different. It says that many of those changes are connected to a measurable, biological signal that has been declining for decades, and that signal can be strengthened. Not with a prescription, not with a specialist appointment, with a breath, with cool water on your face, with the sound of your own voice. You already have everything you need. So here is your 1 action for today. Tonight, before bed, spend 5 minutes breathing in for 4 seconds and out for 8. That is it. Just 5 minutes. Notice how your body feels before you start. Notice it after you finish. That's slowing. That is your vagus nerve responding. That is you, actively strengthening the most important nerve in your body. You are not too old for this to work. You are exactly the right age to start. Quick recap. Method 1. Slow diaphragmatic breathing. 4 to 5 seconds in, 6 to 8 seconds out. 5 minutes a day. The most researched natural vagal toning technique available, with measurable effects within a single session. Method 2. Cold water on the face. 30 seconds at the end of your shower. Activates the mammalian diving reflex, the same mechanism used by cardiac medicine practitioners for decades to rapidly increase vagal tone. Method 3. Humming. 2 to 3 minutes daily. physically vibrates the laryngeal branch of the vagus nerve, simultaneously slows your breathing into the optimal vagal activation range. Research published in the NIH's Curious Journal found it produces the lowest stress index of any measured activity, including sleep. 3 methods, 3 pathways, 1 nerve: your heart, your gut, your brain. In the next video, we are going to talk about the cells inside your body that are accelerating all of this. The ones researchers now call senescent cells, zombie cells, and why clearing them out may be one of the most powerful things you can do for healthy aging after 60. That video is already being prepared. If you want to see it when it posts, the subscribe button is just below. And if someone in your life has been told their high resting heart rate, their sluggish digestion, or their worsening memory is just aging, please share this video with them, because it may not be aging. It may be a nerve that nobody has ever told them they could strengthen. Always speak with your doctor before making changes to your health routine. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one.